Hi, so this is Robert Bailey, and this is my Unreal Tournament level, and this is the Graybox Iteration 1. I'm currently using Windows Capture because everything else I've done has caused a crash or a cut to black on the recording software, and I'm using the Open Broadcaster software. So that's been fun. By fun, I mean it hasn't been. So this is my Unreal Tournament Capture the Flag map. I won't be using Capture the Flag because I won't be testing in Capture the Flag mode because I want to be able to, I don't want to be fighting the announcer the whole time. And then I will be using, I have a demo placement of the translocator, which I will use to pick it up, but I will not be using that in any form of my map. From there, the big thing is that um, I have most of the geometry done. I don't have like an outer edge barrier because I'm not entirely sure what I want that to be yet. Um, but the main focus was having these 3 lanes and the central base. So almost like a MOBA type setup, but it's not curved. So there's this lane here on the right, which is opposed to the top left, and that is a tunnel for very like low level play. And I'll be going over the details of these as I explore them when I start up the game. On the left and top right, you have the medium rank, and in the center, you have the highest skill but also most rewarding path in the center. And then you have a base on each side. There are no ammo, health, or like power pickups right now, simply because I don't want to like limit players to those as I'm like going through and playtesting and getting opinions. So I want to see how players move through the map before I start putting armor pickups around, because I want to know what paths I'm directing them away from, as opposed to or reinforcing, as opposed to just having them be willy-nilly and players not enjoying the process of picking up power-ups. I'm going to hit play, and it actually worked this time. So I spawned inside red base, which these lights work. In the editor view, they're not working right now, so I'm going to try and figure out why that is through the next iteration. But spawning here, and I'm intending there to be other spawns around the edge, players can grab a shock rifle, which will allow them to have a long range response very quickly to players who decide that they're just going to rush down the main path, so you can easily get a defense going. The other main weapon pickup around here is the Stinger minigun, which can be picked up by sliding down that wall, or it can be picked up by intentionally placing yourself here in a defensive position to mow down people as they jump with the hit scan weapon. Now, what's also fun about this space is the fact that the minigun has its alt function, which is that exploding arrow, which allows players to, you usually can't jump this wall. Now, I can. I take some damage, but it's relatively light damage. It's only 12 points, and it allows me to mantle up that wall that's normally a slightly safer jump into here, and take the flag and then do what I want with it. From here, I could impact hammer over, rock jump over. I can't translocate because I'd have the flag and I would drop it. Or I can take either of these side routes. So these side routes, what they allow is, if I have the flag and I can't jump back because I don't have enough health or whatever, I have to then run and interact with players who are technically below my skill level in movement or less comfortable with movement, meaning that there's more interaction between players, more opportunities for the high skill player to go, ha, look, I'm creaming all these people, and for the other players to go, hey, I managed to take him down. So there's all sorts of fighting there. The steps are steep so that players can easily move up them. There are no steps here to require kind of a jump to move through, which will stall the opening a little bit so players aren't just immediately walking through. They actually have to think of where they want to be going. And it's a 3-tier platform because I like 3-tier platforms, but it also allows interesting behavior on all 3 tiers. Specifically here, you can run around through it, and then take paths up and around, and then take the minigun. So in the snowman's land, between the bases, there's rocket launchers, which are between the base and the tunnel, and I'll explain that when I get over there. And this translocator, which doesn't matter, because it won't be there. So what the translocator lets me do is all sorts of fun stuff that I would normally be able to do in a normal set of Capture the Flag. So I could defend here, or use this as a landing spot to attack, planning on dodging and then dashing over. I can also manually dash to that as opposed to having to translocate over. The fourth branch I'm going to talk about in detail are these side branches. that are the tunnels, I should say. So the way the tunnels work is they're enclosed. There are a couple spots that players can jump in and out of. So new players can kind of mess around with that or get ambushed by it, but it won't be in such huge numbers that players can account for it. The main weapon here is the bio rifle, which is a rework of the bio launcher that is slowly becoming standard, and I wanted to have it in the level so I wouldn't ever have to come back and edit it because of the bio launcher becoming a replacement. I won't fire it because it has weird explosion behaviors, and I don't want to yell over a noise in 30 seconds. So what it can do is allow players to set up traps using the biogun behavior, which means new players don't necessarily have to be aiming constantly. What they can do is set up a trap and set up all sorts of fun interactions to mess up other players running through. Also, this area is darker than the outside, which means it's easier to shoot out than in. Which gives these players a little bit more defense, and also that all of the walls and cover is natural terrain, which makes it look a little bit more organic, and also allows players to take cover behind non-standard elements. As they exit the area, they get greeted by the opposing middle tier. The other big part of the caves is to add elements for high-level play, is the top can be used as a place to drop down on new players, take cover in. It's still relatively exposed, but it's another movement option, and allow players to like slide and even fight on top of a different route. So in effect, it can become a second middle tier route, but it's exposed enough. Players down here can shoot up, so it's like, oh, there's been a bunch of noise. I'm just going to pop up here with the rocket launcher. This isn't a rocket launcher, but that is. It's like, I'm just going to pop up here and try and see if I can get a kill. And it also allows a little bit more interaction when trying to capture the flag to go, oh, they won't expect me running down the short path, translocate up, translocate in, and there's the flag. Almost. There's the flag. So that interaction allows for a little bit more elements to develop around this tower. And players can also jump, if they're at full speed, I know they can jump to these pillars, which will lead them to the flak cannon, which can be jumped to from here. The little triangles serve to help catch the disc. Which I'm managing to do the worst job of demonstrating, but also managed to catch players if they got up to one of these locations. They can dash. I am doing like everything wrong today, so that's fun. But they can dash up, and it allows players to, and the little cupping essentially allows the map to grab the player and allow easier movement. From here, the player can't quite jump back, so you pretty much have to commit when you leave, but the medium path opposes the lower path. Now, the medium path has some fun interactions, so it's always on the left of the base, so coming out from here, there's no immediate weapon pickup. The first one is the link gun, which allows players on this path to allow players on this path to grab opposing void carriers, to do damage by lining up shots, because it's similar to the Stinger cannon but does more damage but isn't hit scan. So there's a couple more fun interactions that happen around having this link cannon. And also, as I already demonstrated without talking, is you can jump up on this platform, go back to the base, and have a nice defensive structure, and try and do some more maneuvering around, which is why it's not connected, because it's a fun way to add maneuvering from one side of the base to the other while keeping the verticality from the other. Oh, I messed up that jump. But a big thing is it also has less cover than other areas of the map because of these holes. And so they can be shot out of, but they give less cover, players can jump in through the gaps. So overall, this medium area is pretty exposed, but it's powered out by having the link cannon and relatively quick access to the flak cannon if you can get the movement down, which I can't. So you might be asking, why do I put the flak cannon up against new players? Because it's almost a one-hit kill at close range. It's big, it's scary, it's powerful. And I did it because, well, its threat is huge. So players coming out with the biogun can plant bombs to mess with the player who will probably be taking cover around here. So they can plant bombs to mess with the movement. They can use the gas grenades to smoke them out. And they have the cover, which makes it a little bit harder to hit them with the flak cannon. If I can find the route out. So it's a little bit harder for the new players to be hit with the flak cannon, and they can just as easily try and grab it, if not possibly faster, because they don't have that spiral staircase delaying them. And they always get this nice upgrade of cover here that they can use to try and shoot at the flak cannon, if they've gotten familiar with the translocator, or if you have a more experienced player guiding the newer ones. And that leaves one main route, which I really love the transporter, which is this route, and I'm going to butcher it because I can't wall jump to save my life. But what it allows me to do is jump on one side, run down it, and jump to the other, back and forth, back and forth. This is the most direct path between the 2 points. I don't have a gun with a scope, so I'm going to grab that real fast and then explain it. So, I have direct line of sight on that flag, and direct line of sight on that flag. So not only does it serve as a massive landmark to guide the player, because it's, hey, I'm in this base, I don't know where I should be going, I just spawned, oh, look at that, it has nice big arrows. If I go up these stairs correctly, oh, it's like all feeding down and everything seems to be moving that direction. I'm gonna walk outside, hey, it keeps guiding me. So it serves as like orientating thing, and I'm planning on having one side be tinted blue, one side be tinted red as I bring in textures, which is what these lights were supposed to do, but right now they serve as guiders for the attacking team, which not as big a fan of. But the super fast route relies on good wall jumping, which that was terrible. I'll see if I'll try it again.
5-minute warning.
Almost did it. So players can wall jump around there and then either use the impact hammer or a previously acquired rocket launcher to jump across the gap or try and get to the middle point to pick up the sniper rifle, giving their team control of that rifle and in turn longer range damage. If it has already been picked up. Yeah, sorry. If it hasn't already been picked up by people using a translocator to get there. So the sniper rifle serves to draw more attention to the center of the map, bring more people there, and cause a conflict point in the center of the fastest route. Also, all of the other weapons can be used to mess with players on this super fast route. So even if someone's a master of the movement system, they have to deal with bio rifles hitting them, the shock rifle, charge shot combo. I couldn't remember the name. The link gun dragging them down, the Stinger minigun putting in darts in the wall, the flak cannons, grenades, and the rocket launchers, everything, messing with them and bumping them around. So it's exposed, but if you can pull it off and be at full speed as you do it and land these rocket jumps, it's super rewarding. But balanced in that you can't do it constantly, because if all players will start responding to it. Because there's no barrier on the ground, which means you can just shoot up. These act as cover, so I can be sitting here in front of their base and still shooting at their runners going by. And so the rocket launchers are placed the way, the last thing I forgot to mention, the rocket launchers are placed where they are so that they're distinct from the map, from the bases. They're still clearly in each side's territory, but new players have to run out of the tunnels and over to grab it and kind of double back.
3 minutes remain.
Which means that there's a little bit more opportunity for conflict around the rocket launchers and conflict close to bases that isn't revolved around the flag. And if you have things distracting players, that means other players can go and interact with the flag. And so that was intended to kind of give a little bit less control of the rocket launchers. Originally they were in these locations, right under the main path, which would allow players to jump down, grab, and continue, to make it a little bit riskier, but also allow more team organizational control. Now, one element of the map that I'm currently debating on whether to keep on wanting to see player interaction is this part of the technically blue team route, because you can discus out. I was aiming discus out. So you can just get out like that, or discus in. And I like what it. I like the possibility of what it offers. And I'll be curious if players try and interact with that when I start playtesting a little bit more, because it has the possibility of being really cool. Because all of a sudden, new players are like, "Oh, I can shoot here, and there's a gap here. Can I shoot out there? Oh, I can, and I'm the center of the map. That's really cool, and I can slide back in." And so I'll see how that goes over, but that's subject to change. Another part of the map that is subject to change is possibly adding a couple more supports here. And then maybe a block here to allow it a little bit easier to jump up and into bases. I don't think bases will ever get a ceiling. That was in my initial plan, but honestly, ceilings were boring, which sounds really strange. But just the playing around ceilings was boring, whereas having all these interactions around pillars and underneath routes and over routes allows more interesting gameplay. Um, in my
1 minute
opinion,
remains.
because, well, you have to run through and go, it's like, okay, there's a bunch of people here, I'm just going to try and dodge under and hopefully no one sees me in this darkness. Okay, yes, I'm in their base, I can try and get their flag. And more interactions like that, as opposed to, well, I'm just going to wall run over you, which is this one, but it's countered by the fact that literally anyone under you can shoot you. There's just so many ways for that player to get shot. But if they can pull it off, they have the fastest
30
route to
seconds
score,
left.
which would be faster than the way I'm moving now, but I believe I'll get there at about the 10 seconds left mark. Yeah, so moving at normal speed on the ground, it's about 12 seconds. So that route, I believe, when done properly, should be about 8 seconds, which means you can have turnarounds
10.
in maps
No.
and comebacks in a matter of 10 seconds. And this really high risk reward gameplay. Yeah, so also issue of what I was talking about. That is blue flag. These are generating blue. But when I build the map, they generate red, which is irritating. But other than that, I'm happy with how the map's turned out. I kind of know where I'm going to build from here. I plan on having possibly ammo routes on the top, definitely ammo and health routes along alternating sides through that center, and probably pickups on these alternate pillars around the map, and possibly adding in a couple more pillars here and here. I don't want the center to be too clunky, so I'll either add in more pillars or more of like a rolling hills type element to it. I'm pretty content with the way the map is now. I'm probably going to add some more structural features in the future gray boxes and polishers, and maybe widen up the spawns a little bit. But honestly, I kind of like the way the bases are. I like how it's a relatively one-story map throughout, but each element has a couple stories on top of it. And I like the counterplay options that are available to players as they navigate through it. So, all in all, I'm happy with the way my map is currently turning out. And I hope you appreciate this guide to it. The only thing not in the UMap will be that it will boot up to a CTF map, and the currently highlighted translocator will be deleted in the final build. Not even the final build, but the build I submit to the Dropbox on my courses. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed my overview of my map, and we'll be able to see how it improves moving forward. Because Unreal is really obnoxious to learn until you get it, and then it's all clicks, and you can do all sorts of crazy fun stuff. But that's my Graybox iteration 1.